just the way that God comes and wrestles with him, and then Jacob says, I will not let you go until you bless me.
Yeah.
And I think that is the Christian wrestling by faith.
All right, we're live. Excellent.
Yes, we are.
Well then, let's begin with our highly professional intro. Welcome, everyone, to the Chinook podcast. My name is Brad Donovan, and I'm here with Jamie Souls and Nathan Zekveld, and we are delighted again to talk about the book of Genesis. We will be in chapter 33. But before then, we've got our book recommendation section. So, Nathan.
Yeah, so I'm currently reading a book entitled Hold the Line, My Story from the Heart of the Freedom Convoy. It's written by Tamara Leach, and it has a foreword by Rupa Subramanya. So basically this book is Tamara Leach basically laying out her experiences related to the Freedom Convoy that happened in Canada in the beginning of 2022, I think it was.
Yeah, very early.
Yeah. So anyway, she it's very interesting reading this. Of course, it's the account of one person who's basically telling the story from her perspective. But I do find it I appreciate her perspective, and she seems to be trying to tell the story as honestly as possible.
Yeah.
And this was a major cultural moment in Canada. So even though I've not read all the books on it yet, I got a book by Andrew Lawton on the Freedom Convoy, by Tamara Leach on the Freedom Convoy. And I think, this is going to go down in history. So I want to have the initial sources in my hand.
Yeah, primary sources for such things are good.
Yeah.
And she is in court right now over this.
To this point, I regard this lady as a Canadian hero. She is still in court over this. The Canadian government has been pursuing and pursuing and pursuing and pursuing her and Chris Barber.
Yeah, on terrorism-related charges.
Yeah, it's on spurious charges.
Yeah.
She's not a terrorist. She didn't blow anything up.
No.
So there's a couple things that's fascinating about that account. The one is how the media tried to portray them as crazies.
Yep.
And so the media is willing to accept BLM, all of those organizations, and yet somehow the Freedom Convoy people are crazies.
Yeah, so these truckers, they got together and they actually behaved themselves in public.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
And has anyone, show of hands, ever seen a BLM event
Where they behave themselves.
No.
And then another interesting thing in there is she talks about the $5 million that went to the Give, Send, Go, and the huge legal battle. And there was all these people.
Right.
There was all this fighting going on over the millions of dollars. And now I believe it's still sitting in that Give, Send, Go account. And it's amazing how many people are trying to get their hands on it. There's a group of lawyers in Ottawa. There's attorneys. There's everybody wants their hands on that money.
Yeah.
Sharks
Yeah,
in the water.
money that was given to support the convoy.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're sharks and they smell blood.
Yeah.
Well, they smell money.
They smell money, and the thieves who took that money in the first place are free and clear.
Yeah.
But she's getting
Yeah.
hauled in court. And then there's also the Coots 5.
Yeah.
Or is it 4?
The
There's
Coots
four.
4. Yeah.
4.
The Coots 4.
Inflation. Sorry, it's 2024. We have inflation. We've gone to 5 now.
So the Coots 4, they've been in prison, I think, for a year and a half without a trial. So pre-trial, and the trial just keeps on getting bumped back.
That's illegal.
It's
it's illegal.
It's a travesty of justice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to, under English common law, have a speedy and fair trial.
Yes.
And they have had none of that.
Our prime minister, once upon a time, I remember him saying that the worst people in his world were old stock European folk.
So white Canadians.
Yeah, white Canadians that came from the north, like Britain or
even though some
Norway
of us, our families have been here for 300-400 years.
Yeah.
The moral conscience of the West stands in the way of his agenda.
It does. And may we have more of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
More, please.
Yes.
My book recommendation. This is a book that I read to my kids sometime quite a long time ago when the whole crowd of my kids were still at home. Watership Down by Richard Adams. I remember about this book that it was really engaging. It was way more engaging than you'd expect in a story about bunnies,
Right.
right? Because it was really a war. It was a wartime tale.
Yep.
And I remember getting to the point in that book where Bigwig is breaking these people out, these bunnies out of Ephrathah. And man, that was as high a drama as The Lord of the Rings at its heights. It was amazing. Anyways, I commend to you the book Watership Down by Richard Adams. My daughter told me that she got hold of the, there has been recently a comic book version of this book that's like 400 pages this big.
Right. That's a sizable tome.
Oh,
That
for those
takes
of you,
Watership Down and
for those of you out in podcast land, Jamie's hands made a big
made a big book.
Made a big book there. I saw it.
So anyways, I really do commend to you this story. It's well worth reading. If you've got kids who are 10 or so, or older or a bit younger, this is excellent material.
Yep. So speaking of the Lord of the Rings, I don't often get to read fiction. So when I do, I really do enjoy it. And I, over the Christmas holidays, have begun reading Lord of the Rings again for, I don't know, the 5th or 6th or 7th time. So I'm in the Fellowship of the Ring, and I'm, again, enjoying it. And I think that that really, the further we move along in history, the more of a canonical work in the English language that becomes.
Yeah.
So if you haven't read it, you should. There's some things that I really enjoy in the book. I strongly identify with the hobbits like Sam, right? Because I'm a nobody. I kind of enjoy gardening. I'm not any good at it, but I can grow onions like you wouldn't believe. But I think that the onion is an overused vegetable.
So you feel like a hobbit.
I do. I feel very much like a hobbit. I love the comforts of home and the simple.
You act habitually
like a hobbit. Yeah. So habitually.
Except I feel like the hobbits wouldn't like the oil and gas industry.
Well, I think you'd be surprised. I think they would. That's kind of a dwarf thing, right?
It's kind of a dwarf thing.
Yeah, because we're delving deep. Yeah. Awakening the dragon.
Yes.
They tell of too greedily and wolf the nameless fear.
And now there's nameless fear running through the land saying, fracking.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, I thought it was mortar.
Well, it's funny because most of the leases I work on look very much green. Not so much like mortar. So
It's kind of like hobbits and dwarves meeting together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
To
there you
create
go.
industry.
To create the oil and gas industry. So I strongly identify with those characters in that book. But it's high literature. You can read it to your kids. We're reading it to our children right now. It's got great stories of heroism and valor, sacrifice, self-sacrifice. It's just the full gamut of what a good story should be.
Yep.
The other thing too, I think it's important for men to read fiction because it helps to keep the imagination alive, and it helps in a young person to inform the imagination, and good literature will form the imagination towards good things. But in a grown man, it helps keep the imagination alive. When you read, I think it's The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and you encounter the character of Eustace. His parents read him all the wrong sorts of books, right? Stats and figures and children doing jumping jacks, right? So don't be that guy.
Don't be Eustace.
Don't be Eustace. And one of the ways you avoid being Eustace is by reading good fiction.
Also, don't be Puddleglum.
Somebody that I just read here within the last day spoke of Eustace as that crabby modernist.
Yes, he is. He is. Now,
And Puddleglum is a Dutchman.
yes, he is. Because when he smokes, he's so dour that the smoke assembles at his feet. But he's very practical, you see. And in a pinch, he does. So
Yeah, so there's all these characters in the Narnia series, and there's all these characters in the Space trilogy that so often pop up into mine.
Yeah,
once
Lord of the
you've-
Rings, yeah.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings too.
you read the book and then you see a character.
Yeah.
And then you know how to deal with that character because your imagination has been informed by good literature. So,
Actually, this was something Mr. Apple now Pastor Apple, when I was at New St. Andrews College, he's now pastoring Trinity Church in Moscow, Idaho. This is something he told me. He said, if you want to get good at counseling, don't read counseling books.
Right.
Read good literature.
yeah.
And I was like, I had never thought that way before. And I was
Right.
like, yeah, actually that's, I wouldn't totally agree with that. I'll still read counseling books, but I think there's a point to it.
My problem
And a
with
very
counseling,
distinct point.
Yeah, my problem with counseling books is like systematic theologies. They're very poorly written. Like, interest me, please.
Well, yeah, if you think about it, like if you write in story format about people, you're actually teaching a lot more about psychology and how the human mind works. And yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing about fiction is that you can import yourself into the story.
Yeah.
And so you can have an experience of the story that's way beyond the mere intellectual.
Yeah.
And that's why, like the first time I remember reading through the Lord of the Rings, I get to the very end, right? And all the heroes basically leave on a boat.
Yeah, they all leave on a boat.
And I went into a 3-day long depression. I was just devastated. I wandered around. I didn't know what to do.
Did you read any of the extended tale that tells what happened to Sam and eventually what happened?
No, I didn't have access to the Silmarillion at the time or any of the other Lost Tales. That I read those later. But when I read the Lord of the Rings the first time, I came away with this like deep melancholy. And I'm Irish. I come by it naturally, right? Melancholy is a thing we do. I mean, that's what happens when you spend thousands of years on an island with no sun. So, and even though my family's been here in Canada for 3 generations,
He's still vitamin D deficient.
I'm still vitamin D deficient.
Living in Grand Prairie, Alberta.
Yeah, that fog we had 2 days ago, I was right at home for some reason. I couldn't see, but I could drive. So but there's something about the experience of the characters and of the story, I think that is very informative.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that we're getting at also as we're going through Genesis is the Bible is just not just a list of doctrinal truths that's bang, 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 memorize them and you're good to go.
Yep.
But the Bible is told in stories, and when it's told in stories so that we can learn how to have a biblical imagination with how we deal with relationships in the world and all of that.
Yep. So, I mean, like in our last episode, we talked about Jacob wrestling with God. Well, he wrestled his whole life. He wrestles with God. Do you wrestle? Okay, now you can look at Jacob. You can look
what
at
do
this.
you wrestle with?
Exactly.
What things cause you to have to struggle a lot in life? Well, God put Jacob in the world for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
To show you how to do it.
Well, and ever since I was in high school, I've often had that image of Jacob wrestling with God coming to mind, because when you're in a trial or you're in an affliction, then you can think of Jacob and just the way that God comes and wrestles with him. And then Jacob says, I will not let you go until you bless me.
Yeah.
And I think that is the Christian wrestling by faith, is the Christian constantly saying, I will not let you go until you bless me.
Yep.
Yes.
And I've had in my own life some of that experience, right?
Yeah.
Right. I cannot let go of the Lord,
Yeah.
but I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Like I'm in deep anguish, but I'm not letting go.
Yeah.
And that Jacob was definitely in the forefront of my mind.
He
in those
teaches
moments.
us how to fight the good fight of faith. You know, Paul talks to Timothy and he gives him that instruction. Life is like there's a war going on in life. And that war has been going on right from the beginning, that antithesis between the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. That's the ultimate division in the world that God has set. And there's so much in terms of the stories in Scripture that are teaching us along those lines. And when we view them with the wrong eyes, if we look at them just trying to discern who sinned and who didn't, we miss a whole lot of stuff especially in the patriarchs, especially reading about Jacob.
Yeah.
Jacob is such a good example to us about how to fight, about how to wrestle, about how to win.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and have prevailed. That's what God says about him. You've fought with men and God, and you have prevailed. And that right there is a phrase that that should stick in your mind.
Yes.
Yeah, and when Paul says that we are overcomers, he meant it, and that was a reflection on this.
Yes.
Well, and even as you look at Jacob limping away from Penuel as the sun rose, because God touched the socket of his hip and basically damaged it. Jacob realizes, and it's every limp, it's every scar in life that makes you realize once again that, yeah, God's grace is at work in me, because it's by the grace of God that I am what I am, that I do what I do.
Yes.
And I think Jacob could claim the same grace for himself, because God could have killed him there.
Oh yeah, if God can touch a hip and just destroy the the tendon, it's no more effort to snuff. So here's the high drama though. We've had this night fight.
Yeah.
Night fighting, and this high drama of this conversation, and then Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau was coming, and 400 men with him. So the question is, did Jacob go from the frying pan into the fire, or from the fire into the frying pan? So,
Right. Okay, something that happens right here at this point in the Scripture. Jacob, as we've talked about, has been a wrestler. He's wrestled in the womb with Esau. He's wrestled in his youth with Esau. He's wrestled all his days with Isaac, up until heading off to Paddan Aram, where he wrestles with Laban for 20 years. And then he comes back, and God wrestles with him all night long. And Jacob, it says, wins. It's like this is graduation. You've graduated, Jacob, from wrestling school. Now you get to go out into life, and now you're prepared for what's coming, because what's coming is hard for Jacob. It's hard. When you read over the next 25 chapters and you see just how hard it was.
yeah, when Pharaoh asks him how old he is, he says, "My days have been short and troubled." We'll get there. But yeah, he looks up, and Esau. So he wrestles with God.
Yeah.
Now he's got a limp, and he looks up, and behold, there he is.
As he's limping away from Penuel.
So he's exhausted. He's completely exhausted.
He's probably in a bit of pain.
He's in a lot of pain, I imagine. Yep. And so he's got he divided up the children among Leah and Rachel and the two female servants. So he makes his division with the servants with their children in front, then Leah with her children, and then Rachel and Joseph last of all. So Benjamin clearly isn't born yet.
Yeah.
And then he himself went on before them. So he gets in front of this whole thing, and he bows to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brothers. So just imagine Esau with his 400 men off in the distance. They see this, this mad activity. And then this old gimpy guy hobbles up to the front and prostrates himself 7 times. And then it says, But Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept.
Yeah, that's an unexpected line.
Very. This is a sudden dramatic twist.
Yes, it is. And let's think about this in terms of the character of Esau. Esau, as we've discerned, is a very present-oriented man. That present orientation drove him to do the things that he did, to despise his birthright. The
marrying of the women.
Yeah, the marrying of these. There's a whole bunch of things that show this deeply in him. Now it's been 20 years since he's seen Jacob. And when he last saw Jacob, he wanted to kill him.
Yeah. And Jacob literally had the clothing on his back.
Yes. And how much of a grudge did he carry? I don't know. Rebecca said to Jacob, I'll send for you when his anger's died down.
Yep.
And Rebecca never did send to Jacob.
Yeah.
Now that could be that his anger never died down, or it could be that, well, Esau got some of the picture and decided he'd pack up his own and moved out to the land of Seir. Mm-hmm. So he was no longer in presence, in company with Isaac and Rebekah. So the next thing we hear about him is this 400 men, and you sort of get the sense that's a war party.
Mm-hmm. Usually.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, if you're out with 400 men, well, you just go out with 400 men.
That's a small battalion.
Yeah, you're on your way out to do some damage somewhere.
It's expensive calling out that many men.
So Jacob, I think he remembers what Esau is like, and he's remembering this all along the trip. In that he sends out a package, sends it ahead. Okay, sends out another package, sends it ahead. Okay, so Esau has been pacified again and again and again already. By the time Jacob and Esau meet face to face, there's been bribe after bribe after bribe offered. You know, in the Bible, it tells you that it's wrong for you to accept a bribe.
Right.
It doesn't tell you that it's wrong for you to give one.
It says your bribe shall make your way for you.
It does say that.
And Solomon was probably thinking of this.
He probably was.
Yeah. So, and then Esau lifted up his eyes. Okay, so you've got Jacob lifting up his eyes, Esau lifting up his eyes, and he sees the women and children and says, "Who are these with you?" Because remember, Jacob went out with his clothing and his staff. So Jacob, he says, "These, the children whom God has graciously given your servant." So he's like, "The Lord has given me this."
Yes.
So he's not
your servant.
Yeah. And he's speaking very humbly. And then all the servants draw near, and they and their children. So his servants have children as well. So he's got a substantial household. They come and bow down.
Yes.
So they show homage or deference to.
And he's got a whole lot more than it's just his household.
Oh,
he's got enough servants, men and female servants, that he's able to send a whole great flock.
Multitude.
He comes back with a multitude. He says he's 2 companies.
Yes. Like, that's not 1, that's 2.
Yeah.
So then Leah and her children draw near, they bow down, and then Joseph and Rachel, and then they bow down. And Esau's like, "What do you mean? What is this?"
But whatever the case might be, Esau is pacified.
Oh, he is.
And pacified well. Because when he comes in sight of Jacob,
he kisses him.
All the old animosity is gone. This is my brother I haven't seen in 20 years.
Yeah, and he falls on his neck weeping. And then he's like, "So what do you mean? What is this?" And Jacob's like, "Well, to find favor in the sight of my Lord." And Esau's like, "I have enough, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself." So he's like,
so Esau has clearly done well for himself.
Very well,
because he was sent out with nothing.
Yes. So, and then Esau finally took the bribe because Jacob pressed it on him. Like, he really had to work. Like, he argues, "Please accept this present. I have seen your face, which is like seeing the face of God." Now, that's a funny...
Yeah.
Because Jacob just wrestled with God.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that makes me think that's what Jacob saw, or what he thought the night before, that this is Esau.
Yeah, it's possible.
Maybe.
And you have accepted me. Please accept my blessing, because God has dealt graciously with me, and I have enough. So he gives Esau some stuff.
Yeah.
And then Esau's like, let's go.
Come on over.
Come on over. And Jacob's like, the children are frail, right? I don't want to move. This is great. This negotiation between them. If they're driven hard for one day, all the flocks will die. So you go on ahead, and I'll come slowly at the pace of the livestock until I come into Seir. And then Esau's like, well, let me leave some of the people with me. And then he's like, "Oh, I don't need that. Like, I'll catch up." And they go back and forth. So Esau went to Seir, but Jacob went to Succoth.
Yes,
So
yeah. Jacob never did go there.
He didn't go to Seir at all. He pulled a fast one at a slow pace. So he goes to Succoth. Mm-hmm. He builds a house and booths, and then he went to Shechem. And I think Succoth is in the region of Shechem.
I think Succoth is in...
Isn't it?
No, it's on the... I think it's on the east side of the Jordan.
Okay, so he set up camp there for a bit.
He came safely to the city of Shechem,
which is on the west side.
Which is on the west side, which is in the land of Canaan.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so he must have... So Succoth, he camped there for a while.
I think so.
And then he went to Shechem. And then, from the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father, and this is the introduction of these two characters, Hamor and Shechem.
Yeah.
He bought for 100 pieces of money the piece of land on which he pitched his tent. And then he puts up an altar. He does a very Abrahamic thing. Mm-hmm. So, and he calls the altar El Elohi Israel. So that's
God, the God of Israel.
God, the God of Israel. So,
okay. So he's come now back into the land. Mm-hmm. This is the second piece of land that is owned.
Yep. Because the first
was Machpelah, that Abraham bought that burial plot.
Which Isaac still holds.
Yes, which Isaac still holds.
Yeah, because Isaac is still alive at this point, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he hasn't
Isaac
died yet.
lives to be 180. Remember Isaac?
Man.
Sitting on his bed. He's blind.
Yeah.
He's got Esau before him. I don't know the day of my death, son, and I better bless you before I die. He's 137 when that happened. Oh. So he lived another 43 years.
Man.
After that. I wonder if he was blind the whole time.
I don't know. Hard to say.
I wonder. Because he lived a long, long time. He outlived Abraham. And Abe lived to 175. Isaac lived to 180.
Yep. And Jacob...
Long living guy.
Only lived to like 130 or something.
147.
147, yeah. Yeah, and that's why he said, short and trouble have been the years of my life. So, chapter 34. This is some more wrestlings.
Yes. Let's set this in its chronological setting. There's a couple of things to be aware of in here. When they're coming out and coming up to Esau, it says specifically about how Rachel and Joseph were last of all. Mm-hmm. Benjamin was not on the scene yet. Mm-hmm. Benjamin is the youngest. He's not yet born. So this story, or just following this disastrous story in chapter 34, is when Benjamin is born and Rachel dies.
Right.
Rachel dies in childbirth, giving birth to Benjamin. Where's Joseph in all this? Well, if you follow out the timeline of things, you discover that Genesis 37, that begins the stories of Joseph, happened considerably before the story that happened in 34. Because remember, in Dinah was born afterward, it said. Yep. When in the chapter where it was talking about all the births,
yep.
Leah had her sixth son, and then later she had Dinah.
Yep.
Okay, so Dinah, when they come out of Paddan Aram, Dinah can't be more than like a couple of years old. She's a toddler.
Yep. And then Joseph, when he is looking for his brothers, he's looking in the environs of Shechem.
Yeah.
So, which is where Jacob is now camped. So, it says right here.
No, I think Jacob had moved by then.
No, chapter 37, 12, near Shechem.
Yes, they went to pasture their flock there, but that's not where Jacob was living.
No, because he
or not where Jacob or Isaac were living. They were living at a different place.
Yeah, because they moved in chapter 35.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, to Bethel. Right.
Okay, so the whole Joseph narrative, where Joseph has his dreams and where his brothers get all cranked at him, and they decide that they're going to send him off, or they're going to kill him.
Yep.
But then these Ishmaelite traders come along,
Yeah, and then,
Let's sell him we'll never see him again if we do this.
right.
That whole business happened when Joseph was 17. Okay? So Joseph was born when Jacob was 90.
Right. So now Jacob's
Right?
117, or sorry, 107.
Jacob's 107 just now when Joseph is 17.
Yeah.
If he's 17, Dinah is probably 12.
Yep.
Probably 12 at this time.
Yep.
I think she's older than that when this Shechem story happens.
Yeah.
That makes good sense to me. She's a young woman. She's going out to visit the women of the land.
So this is probably after they sold Joseph into slavery.
In fact, it's probably at least a couple years after.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay, so that means that when the brothers come down to Egypt later on, and Joseph recognizes them, they don't recognize him. He puts them in jail. He questions them. They tell him about a brother that's at home.
And he hasn't met him yet.
This is the first Joseph has ever heard of this, that he has a brother,
Right.
like from his mother.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he'd not heard of him before. And that seems to me to be an interesting thing that
Right.
helps to understand the story.
Yeah. Now the actual story has a lot of things going on, and so Genesis 34 with the rape of Dinah. Now there are things in this story that have direct effect in the Exodus period. There's and in the occupation of the land. There's also some important lessons, I think, here about using things that were meant to sign and to seal the covenant and life being used
As instruments of death.
as instruments of death. So you will get later in Leviticus the law about not boiling a goat in its mother's milk. That which is for life ought not be used for death.
Yes.
And I think this is the case study of that.
Yeah. This would be that case study. I think you're right.
So the details, to breeze over them. So Dinah, the daughter of Leah, she goes out to see the women of the land. So she goes to Shechem. And Shechem is I don't know if the town is named after Shechem or if Shechem's named after the town.
I think it has to be one way or the other because I think Shechem was the town long before that particular Shechem was born.
Right, yeah. So Hamor is his father.
Right.
And he's the prince of Shechem, Hamor.
Now,
So,
you know that when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, the prince of the land, saw her, he seized her and lay with her and humiliated her. It says, I think she might have played in the sandbox with this boy.
yeah, they probably knew each other.
Because when Jacob came back, they went to Shechem, and they stayed at Shechem for a little while when Dinah was a toddler.
Yep. So
Okay.
this is probably
She might have remembered that boy and his name.
Yeah, this is
He's named like the town.
this is probably a close, acquaintance at the very least. So he humiliates her and sins against her. And then it says his soul was drawn to Dinah. He loved the young woman and spoke tenderly to her. So Shechem spoke to his father Hamor, saying, "Get me this girl for my wife." So, yeah, Shechem. Now he should have been. When you read the law of Moses, which does come later, there's definitely laws regarding how to treat with a rapist.
Yeah.
Like this. So now Jacob hears that this had happened. His sons are out in the field, so Jacob says nothing until they show up. So he tells his sons. So his sons are older.
All right.
They're older and capable men.
Yeah.
They're
grown men. All of them are by now.
They are. So they're not.
Dinah's younger than all of them.
Yeah, they're not teenagers.
Yeah, they're probably early 20-ish and up.
So then Hamor, the father of Shechem, comes out to Jacob to negotiate over this matter. And the sons of Jacob had come in from the field as soon as they heard of it, and they were indignant and very angry, with reason, like I would have been indignant if this had happened to my sister. But Hamor he said, my son wants to marry your sister and your daughter. So make this happen. Make marriages with us, give your daughters to us, and take our daughters for yourselves. That's a very interesting statement,
Right.
considering what's going to happen. You shall dwell with us, and the land shall be open to you, dwell in it, trade in it, and get property in it.
Yeah.
I don't think he realizes that the words that he's saying are going to come back on him hard. And then Shechem was also involved in the negotiation directly.
Right. And look who they negotiate with.
Yeah, the brothers.
Oh, there it is again.
Yeah, just like Laban.
Just like Laban. There it is again.
Yes.
If you're dealing for a bride in Genesis, you don't negotiate with dad, you negotiate with brother. Interesting. That really sheds light on she is my sister.
Yes. From Abraham and Isaac as well.
Yeah.
So Shechem's like, name your price, and I will give whatever you say. Just give me Dinah. So the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and his father Hamor deceitfully. And now this is interesting. We cannot do this thing to give our sister to one who is uncircumcised, for that would be a disgrace to us. Only on this condition will we agree with you that you become as we are, every male among you being circumcised.
What did circumcision mean to Israel?
Yeah, a cutting off of the old man.
Okay, it's a cutting off of the old man, but it's also it's a symbol that you are now a part of God's people.
You're
Yeah.
set apart from the world as holy.
Yes, you're set apart from the
Yep. So, but the sons deceitfully say this is the price.
Yes.
So they're taking a holy thing,
Yeah.
circumcision,
Yeah.
and they're now the thing is Hamor and Shechem are like, yeah, well, we can do that, and they did not delay.
Yes, they go and they talk this out in Shechem. They talk it out with the man of the city. And their motivations, it appears, is gain,
Yeah,
but they don't know who they're dealing with here.
they don't, and they
Because God has promised not just a little bit
but
to
everything.
Jacob, but everything. He gave Abraham that promise that all the land that you see, I will give to you and to your descendants forever.
Yeah. So the brothers, they say you can have her if you're circumcised.
Yeah.
And we find out they're deceiving.
Yeah.
But the men of Shechem, will not their livestock, their property, and all their beasts be ours?
Yeah.
So they're dealing deceitfully.
Yeah, they're also dealing deceitfully. But what happens to people who deal deceitfully with God's covenant signs?
Oh,
Interesting.
yeah.
This is
This is a good case
this is
study.
a thing that's happened in church history many a time. When you baptize everybody in town, and now they're Christians,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, some of those people are going to be reprobates.
Okay, some of them are.
Yeah.
It's true, but the sign is still the sign, and the sign still means what the sign means.
Yep.
It's not like it loses its meaning if the guy doesn't really mean it.
Yeah.
There's something that went on here. There's something that went on here with the men of Shechem, because all of a sudden they say, okay, well, yeah, let's go along with it. Even, they're looking at the
money.
the short-term gain that's going to be gained. They don't realize they're being circumcised into a people that's going to inherit not just a bit of stuff, but everything. They're going to inherit it all.
Yep.
So they're stepping into a glorious situation
Well, and
by this.
they go and they do this. And on the third day, it's a third day thing. This is another one of those third day
Yeah,
things.
and there's lots of those,
When they were sore, as one would be,
as one would be.
they didn't have modern anesthetic. They had
They must have had something.
I'm sure they had something.
They did, but not modern. So then Simeon and Levi took their swords, came against the city while it felt secure, and killed all the males.
Okay. Funny who takes the lead here.
Yeah, Levi and Simeon.
Let's think about that
Yeah.
that Joseph story. In the Joseph story, all the brothers are hating on Joseph,
Yep.
like because he's giving these dreams in which we bow down to him, and we're not going to bow to this guy. And yet when they go out into the field, and they see him coming from afar, and they said, here comes that dreamer, let's kill him. And who talks him out of it?
Reuben?
Reuben talks him out of it. Reuben is the oldest son. Reuben tries to talk them down. Who's he talking down? Well, his next two brothers is who he's talking down.
Yeah.
Is Simeon and Levi, who are number 2 and number 3. Okay,
Yep.
he's talking these guys down. Now, Reuben, though, loses his moral authority in a number of different ways.
He does.
Not the least of which is lying with one of his father's concubines.
Yeah.
Okay, so Reuben, Jacob described him later as unstable as water.
Yeah. he
Okay,
did.
so Reuben is an unstable character. He tries to defend Joseph, and when he's out looking after the sheep while the brothers are gathered for lunch, when the Ishmaelite traders come by and they sell him.
Yeah.
And he comes back and there's no Joseph, and he's distressed. Oh no, what are we going to do? Well, instead of going to dad and telling the truth, he covenants with the rest of them
To hide it.
and to perpetuate their lie.
Yep.
Okay? So he's not a strong character.
He's a pragmatist. He's
Yeah.
kind of the politician who goes where the wind blows, even though he kind of wants to be principled.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems to be yeah.
He's a conservative.
He's conservative.
Yeah, there we go.
We'll complain about principles, but when it comes down to action,
Yes. Well, okay.
knows how to read a
the
room.
guys that Reuben tried and failed to reel in
yeah.
are Simeon and Levi.
Yeah.
These two are particularly angry boys,
Yes.
and they become particularly angry men.
Yep.
And it was Judah's quick thinking, maybe unintended, that spared Joseph's life too, because he's the one who conceived of the idea of let's ship him off to Egypt.
Right.
And so they followed that instruction, kept Simeon and Levi from having blood on their hands.
But in this story
By
here,
so doing-
he wasn't able to.
Yeah, well, Judah wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he had
Judah was not at Shechem.
He had gone off.
He had gone off almost immediately after Joseph had, and you see that in the chapter 38, I think, that follows out of the first Joseph story. Judah is gone at this time when they are back here.
Yeah, and Reuben isn't named in chapter 34.
Right.
But he clearly doesn't have any mediating influence over Levi and Simeon.
Right. Okay, so here we come to this story, and the two primaries are the two guys who are the angriest.
Yep.
And Jacob later on, I think he actually curses their anger.
Both of them.
Yep.
And
He
Both of
does.
them. Same time that he speaks that way of Reuben, he speaks that way of Levi and Simeon. Let them be scattered among Israel. Cursed be their anger, for it is fierce.
Yeah.
And it still fascinates me that Levi, even though he was such an angry man, he's given the priesthood.
Yes.
He's given the priesthood, and what did the priesthood hold in its hand most often?
A sword.
A sword.
Sword.
Yeah. So, this is the
Well,
thing.
yeah, and then Phineas spears those
Yes.
adulterers through, and
Yes.
God makes a covenant of peace of all things with him.
Yes,
Yeah.
God has use for a spear and for a sword
He does.
Yeah.
But
in his service,
in his service, yeah.
which is interesting.
And what we see here in Genesis 34 is definitely not, like later on we do see the death penalty instituted for rape, but we don't see the actions of Levi and Simeon condoned or promoted.
Yeah,
Right.
because
In any way.
they killed the entire city.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
It wasn't just Shechem.
Yes, this was not an eye for an eye.
No,
And
this
they-
was way over.
And they used the holy sign to trick them.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this was a, the principle, there's a deep principle in the law that comes through Moses, which is a revelation of God and his character. This deep principle of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, where there's supposed to be
Equal retribution. If you put out that guy's eye, then the judges are going to determine, okay, well, you need your eye put out, and now you're both even. Yeah, or in a modern context, if I totaled your car, then I would owe you the equivalent of that car.
Right.
Right? Which would be, I think, robust and just. Some wit once said that if eye for an eye or tooth for a tooth was good, then the whole world would be blind and toothless. And that's not a correct reflection on God's law.
Yeah.
That is the most horribly obscene thing.
Yeah.
Because here's what happens.
Fiddler on the roof.
Yeah, it does. But here's what happens when you don't have an eye for an eye. You have Levi and Simeon way overshooting that mark. Like if you've ever studied like tribal violence, read Scottish history.
Or the Hatfields and McCoys or things like that, where there's this feud that goes on
forever. Yeah.
The Hatfield does something to the McCoy, and burns down their backyard shed, and the McCoys come over and they burn down this guy's barn, and then these guys come over and they slaughter this guy's cows, and it escalates.
And I think there's something to reflect on here with modern law. If you don't have the state standing there with a sword in hand to execute punishment on wickedness and praise for what's righteous, I think eventually what you get is crazy things like this happening, where you've basically got mob rule in the land.
Yes.
Because the state is not doing its job.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's all out of proportion. Yeah.
Yes, and this really is mob rule with Simeon and Levi at the head. They go in and they slaughter this whole city.
Yep. And
they take their wives.
Yep. And all the wealth
and their little ones.
Yep. Like
they capture these. What do they do with these captured people?
Yep. Now they can be bought and sold, or they can be kept. It is pretty awful, really.
Yeah. This is really a bad thing. You know, when I bet if Abraham were looking at this situation and seeing, look, there's a whole city of guys that are being circumcised.
Yay.
Well, I know what that means.
Yep.
Circumcision is God's sign of ownership. These guys are putting themselves deliberately under the ownership of Yahweh.
Yep.
He would have been rejoicing to see this happen.
Yeah.
He would have been delighted, but yet they were doing it with deceit, and the stink this would have raised.
Oh yes,
think about that project.
You have made me a stink to the inhabitants of the land.
Yeah,
that's Jacob's words.
Yes. Yeah. Think about the advance of the gospel.
This didn't do it.
This set it way, way back.
Oh, yeah.
I think,
because now
everybody knows.
Everybody, all of you, come worship Yahweh. And here's his sign, circumcised. Oh, no, we've seen what happens when someone gets circumcised. You kill them.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Simeon and Levi made a reproach. Thanks. Yeah, they made a reproach to the name of Christ, at least in the Old Testament sense.
Yeah. And then, of course, when Jacob rebukes them, they're like, they speak really quite short. They're short with him. I mean, I get their anger because their sister was attacked. I get that, but what they do isn't justice.
The anger of man does not accomplish the righteousness of God.
Yes, I bet you that Peter knew this story pretty well too.
Yep. So then we get to chapter 35.
Okay. Jacob and company arise from there. This, I think, was an absolutely bewildering problem for Jacob. Yeah. He's been wrestling all his life. He graduated from wrestling school. And now, look at this. He's already hurting badly because Joseph, his best one by far, is gone. Mm-hmm. He's gone, and he's not seen him since. Mm-hmm. So he's hurting with this, and his the rest of his sons are sullen, not talkative, grouchy, keeping to themselves. They don't want to talk about Joseph at all. These guys, of course, because they've got a lie to cover up.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's easy to sustain a lie if you say nothing.
Yes. So this is a desperate situation as far as Jacob is concerned.
Yeah.
But God comes to him, and God speaks to him and says, "Arise and go to Bethel and dwell there, and make an altar there to the God who appeared to you when you fled from your brother Esau." So Jacob, at least, like he goes, or God comes to him in his kindness to Jacob, and Jacob figures out what to do. So he goes up to Bethel,
and he does that. But I find it interesting what Jacob immediately does is he turns around and he says to his household and to all who are with him. So this is the multitude that came out of Paddan Aram with him, plus everybody that they picked up from Shechem.
Yeah, the women and children.
Yeah.
Plus all the stuff that stayed with him.
Yeah.
With in Isaac's camp.
And he says, "Put away your foreign gods."
So what's happening here
Why
then?
is there foreign gods there?
Well, Rachel hauled foreign gods along.
She did, but we've also got the entire plunder of Shechem.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So they brought all their gods with them.
Yeah.
It was part of their stuff.
So what's happening here is basically a covenant renewal service.
Yeah.
It is.
So they've, in some ways, they've offended, they have offended God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they need to be back into reconciliation with God.
Yeah, and he speaks of purifying yourselves, changing your garments, and then let us arise and go to Bethel that I may make an altar there to God.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and we have a similar thing happen when Israel comes back into the land. And at various points, the prophets say, put away your foreign gods. Samuel says the same thing at Mizpah.
Yeah.
This is a thing that continues to happen.
Yeah.
So what this actually kind of reminds me of is Ambrose and Theodosius. So Theodosius killing in a rage that mob in the city, and then Ambrose saying you're not allowed to enter into the sanctuary until you repent. Purify yourself.
And then he did.
Yeah. Anyway,
no, it's a similar type of thing. So then, verse 4, they gave all the foreign gods and all the rings that were in their ears. That reminds me of the golden calf incident that's coming up. And Jacob buried all that stuff under the terebinth tree that was near Shechem.
Yeah.
So he buries it all.
Yeah.
So somewhere in Palestine,
there's a whole bunch of that kind of stuff.
There's a whole bunch of
waiting for some archaeologist to come along.
Gods and those rings. Now, I wonder if it's still there. Someone might have dug it up. But I can't imagine that the tree's still there after 3,500 years or whatever it is. But yeah, he buried a bunch. So anybody in the environment of Shechem with a shovel, have at her. But it might still be there. And as they journeyed, a terror from God fell upon the cities that were around them so that they did not pursue the sons of Jacob. So then they came to Bethel. So yeah, everybody around them is terrified.
Yeah.
With justice. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. These guys are terrifying.
They are. So he builds an altar. Again, very Abrahamic. Now altar building, I think, is a Jacob thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just Abraham that does it. Jacob is doing it all over the place. And here Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she is buried under an oak below Bethel. And
so she would have been in the camp for how long by then? It would have had to have been like
a good long
100
while.
and some years.
Yeah. Because she's Rebekah's nurse.
Yeah, she's Rebekah's nurse. Came over with Rebekah, with Abraham's servant.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
That's way back. She's an old lady in their midst.
So, and of course, Jacob, growing up, she would have been one of his caretakers, right?
Yeah.
When he was a young lad.
Okay, then comes they leave from there, and I want you to think about this in terms of the stink that was raised at Shechem, and think about the move down to Egypt. Think about that. I think that that set back the cause of Christ, as it were, a long, long ways in Canaan, and I think that it was a mercy from God to actually move them out of there for Egypt. A couple hundred years until the cultural memory of what had happened before was gone.
Right. You know, there's an almost parallel to Herod's slaughter of the innocents,
Yeah.
and the movement of Joseph, Mary, and Christ into Egypt.
Yeah.
Until the memory of that guy is gone. But just before they leave, that's when God comes to Jacob and says, "Your name is now Israel."
Yeah.
So this is where Israel comes from, a mighty nation.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting when he says, I am God Almighty, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall come from you, and kings shall come from your own body. You think of the kings of Israel, you would think of Christ, who's our eternal king. But it's interesting that promise is actually fulfilled in the next generation because Joseph becomes a king.
Yep.
I never thought about that before. That all of a sudden came to mind right now.
Yeah, no, that's actually a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really interesting. There's this awesome procession of things that happens as you're going through Genesis. Yeah, when you get to the character of Joseph, Joseph is so much like Jesus. Mm-hmm. Like he's Christ-like in many ways. He foreshadows the Lord Jesus.
He humbles himself and then is exalted.
Yeah. And he's imprisoned unjustly for the sins of his brothers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he forgives them. And
his forgiveness is life to them.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's so many ways
Yeah.
in which this is the case. And Genesis, I've maintained this for a long time now, and I still do, that God is in the business in Genesis of painting pictures of the Messiah who is to come. They're painting pictures of what God intends to do in the world.
Yep.
You know, there's so much about the Joseph story in which, you know, when you get to the end of, or the later chapters of Genesis, where they're safely ensconced in Goshen, and they're happy, and Joseph is leading, and it's almost like heaven. It really is.
Yeah.
You get that sense. There's still this longing for the promised land, but it's kind of an initial down payment of glory that happens there, which is fascinating to me. God showed us that whole picture in Genesis. And Joseph is really the Christ figure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I also find it interesting that when God basically renews his covenant or reminds Joseph of his covenant, he says some things that should make you think of Genesis 1 and Genesis 12. He says, be fruitful and multiply. So that's Genesis 1.
Yeah.
A nation and a company of nations shall come from you. So that sounds very much like God's promise to Abram.
Yeah.
So again, God is reminding Jacob, the promise I gave to Abraham and Isaac, I will give to you. He says, the land that I gave, I will give to you and to your offspring after you. And then Jacob sets up a pillar and another altar. He poured out a drink offering and poured oil on it. And that's when he finally gave it the place name Bethuel, or Bethel. So then they go some distance from Ephrath.
Yes.
That's Bethlehem.
Yeah. That's Bethlehem.
Yeah. So they're some distance from Bethlehem.
Well, they were still some distance from it, so they didn't quite get there.
Yep.
They didn't attain
To Bethlehem.
to Bethlehem
Rachel goes into
when a
labor.
son is born.
Yeah. Now, Jesus apparently made it to Bethlehem because that's where he was born. But I wonder if Mary on the way there was like, I better get there and not be like Rachel.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because she didn't quite get there. This is where Benjamin is born and Rachel dies.
She named him Ben-Oni,
Right.
which means son of my sorrow,
Yep. And Benjamin means son of my right hand.
son of my right hand, or son of my strength. So Rachel dies here. This must have been another great blow to Jacob. I figure that Rachel here is probably early 40s.
Yeah.
It's been 22 or 23 years since she bore Joseph.
Yeah.
It's quite a good long while. And she's getting into the upper reaches of where you have children. And she just does not have the strength to deliver. And so she passes away here. Jacob.
This is also where you have Reuben doing his
Yes,
wickedness.
this is where you have Reuben doing his wickedness. Yeah, so I guess that was after the Shechem incident where Reuben does that wickedness, but he's obviously a weak enough character that that he wasn't leading when the Shechem incident came around. It was the two angry boys that were doing so. Jacob loses his beloved bride here. You know, he's had lots of trial in his life. He's had lots of trouble. That's a hard trouble.
Yeah.
That's a hard trouble. You know, I suspect that the rivalry that so characterized Rachel and Leah early on, I suspect that was gone by then.
Yeah.
I suspect that Leah was Rachel's probably best comforter with regards to Joseph. I suspect that was the case. But I mean, we're not told. It just seems that way to me. You'll find that that both those gals, the leading wives, die fairly close to one another. Leah passes away sometime in here too, and Jacob says at the end of his life that he buried Leah in the cave at Machpelah.
Right, which is where he's going.
Okay, which is so that happened. Leah was gone before the brothers went down to Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to find where he says that.
It's very end of Genesis.
Yeah, because he mentions the place.
One of his last words.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find the actual. Oh yeah. Okay. I think it's in chapter 48.
49. The end of 49 says, "Bury me with my fathers in the cave that's in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field at Machpelah, to the east of Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field from Ephron the Hittite to possess as a burying place. There they buried Abram and Sarah, his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah, his wife. And there I buried Leah." The field and cave that was in it when they were bought from the Hittites.
Yeah, so she's basically the last person he mentions before he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Jacob finished commanding his sons, he drew up his feet into the bed and breathed his last and was gathered to his people.
So it seems like he's speaking of her tenderly at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, there probably was some sort of especially after the sisters in Paddan Aram when they have their meeting before they leave.
Yeah.
And they're like,
they had this concord, which was the first time they've had it since they were girls.
Yeah. So there's certainly there seems to be something there. Yeah. Which I think is very interesting in terms of something that Paul writes in Romans 11. He talks about the inclusion of the Jews. I find it interesting because if you look at the wives typologically, right? So Leah would be Israel, Rachel would be the church. And you see, it looks to me at any rate like a reconciliation between Jacob and Leah, and even concord between Leah and Rachel. So at some point, you would expect that, that what Paul's writing about would happen in some way. You can argue about the details, but I think the general picture is that. So I can't help but read the New Testament into the Old, because Jesus told me to. I think about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of looking back like this, where we're not told specifically. We kind of have to speculate.
Yeah. So with
what happened, like with Esau,
Right.
For instance, you know, the last we hear of Esau is that he comes back and helps bury Isaac when Isaac was 180 years old and had died. Isaac, or his sons Esau and Jacob buried him in the end of chapter 35.
Yeah, and then 36 is his descendants, but
The chronology.
It's
But
not,
when he's coming into the land and the 400 men and so forth, and the invitation to come to Seir, and he never goes to Seir.
Yeah.
But you don't hear about warfare anymore.
No, you don't. Yeah.
What you get is concord.
Yep.
What you get is both of these brothers, both the inheritor of the promise and the disinherited, are together in going to bury Isaac.
Yeah.
Right? Which leads me to wonder. You know, the Bible says in Malachi, it says, Jacob I have loved and Esau I have hated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's talking about Esau personally.
Yep.
Because it says right after that, and laid waste his mountains.
Right.
You know, so he's talking about Esau, the people.
Right.
But I wonder about that man.
Yes.
I wonder if we're going to see that man in glory.
Yeah.
Well, he is a red and hairy man, so we would recognize him immediately.
We would recognize him. he'll be all polished up. He won't be grubby.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of interesting things going on there in chapter 36, verse 6 to 8. Mm-hmm. So Jesse Penner preached a sermon a couple of weeks ago on separation for the sake of peace. And I think there again, we see an example, just like Laban and Abraham decided to separate for the sake of peace. I think there again, we see Esau and Jacob separating for the sake of peace.
Yeah.
So he goes up into the hill country of Seir, and it says Esau is Edom.
Yeah.
And so when God flattens the mountains in Malachi, it's because Esau chose that hill country of Seir, which the people, as time went on, they probably saw it as a geographical safety, right? Being in the mountains. So it's just kind of interesting, some of the
and some of the
themes that I'm seeing there.
Yeah, and some of the language is similar to the Lot story, right? Because Esau went into a land far away from his brother Jacob, for their possessions were too great for them to dwell together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The land of their sojournings could not support them because of their livestock. So they're both very wealthy men, and the land can't support them, but it's the same language as Lot going to Sodom.
Yes.
With an eventual similar result, because Edom and Israel do have future conflict, but that's after the return,
right?
After their sojournings in Egypt.
Yeah.
So here it's interesting because Edom eventually becomes an antagonist to Israel.
Yeah.
But in the New Testament times, when men separate and then the church is scattered, that's actually a good thing, because that means that the gospel is spread out over the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in the Old Testament, there's something slightly negative about it, at least.
Yeah.
But in the New Testament, that scattering is a good thing.
Yeah. So with Rachel and with Leah, these two, again, we're sort of speculating when we think about the future of things, but those two don't wind up being the mothers of of antagonists to Israel. They're the mothers of Israel.
Of Israel, yes.
Those two, along with the two servant gals, which is fascinating, because here's these outsiders that God incorporates in, giving us a template for what God intends to do, is that he's going to bring in those from the outside and bring them into his covenant and make them his people.
Yep.
Which is great and glorious, and I'm really thankful for it, because I'm this white-skinned Northern European character that was far, far from the center.
Oh, yes.
And God in his kindness came and rescued us.
Our ancestors were perched on windy rocks on the Atlantic coast, and here we are.
My ancestors were perched in a marsh.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a swamp
They were
German.
marsh wiggles.
A Dutchman's just a swamp German, right? Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm so tall, right?
Yeah. Well, you have to be that tall.
You have to keep your head above water.
I had to be able to look over the dikes.
Yeah. Yeah. If they ever flooded, you could still survive. So another thing that I find,
Sidetrack.
yeah, very sidetrack. I find very interesting in Genesis 36. I tried for the birth of 3 of my daughters to get a name out of this list, and my wife said no.
She vetoed them all.
Vetoed them all. Like, I mean, base math. Isn't that a great name?
Base math.
Base math. That's Esau's wife.
Well,
Base math.
I always think of like the towel that you lay down beside the
Oh,
shower.
a base mat. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, okay.
Isn't there an Ada in there?
Yeah, there's an Ana.
Oholabama.
Oholabama? Yeah.
Ana. I thought
Yeah,
it was
see,
Ada.
Oholabama just kind of rolls off
yeah,
your
here.
tongue.
Yeah, Oholabama. I tried. I really did.
So my grandma's name is Ada.
Okay.
Except without the H at the end.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. So I tried.
Must be a Dutch name.
But I was told no.
okay.
So
But Ada is a nice name.
it is. But don't
I think.
be careful when going to the Bible for names. There are certain lists you might not want.
I do hope that somebody someday names their twins Uz and Buzz, his brother.
Us and Buzz.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
I like really short names. Uz.
Call your
Buzz.
son like Lowton or Shobal. Hey there, Shobal.
Yeah, there's some great names in here. But anyway, so
Okay,
we've
well,
gotten
let's
to the end of that.
Yes, we have. Let's. I see that by the clock on the wall. We've been going for quite a good while now.
Yeah, let's.
Let's reel this in and let's take up Joseph, and maybe we can actually get through the rest of Genesis in our next installment. We might be able to.
I like your ambition and I like your style, but I don't know.
Sounds too ambitious.
It might be too ambitious because there's so much that's going on.
If Joseph
in these
is a type of
passages,
Christ,
which he is,
we are going to be busy.
Yeah,
We're
we
just going
probably
to
are
be
gonna
swamped
busy.
in
Okay.
typology next time.
Oh, perfect. I love it.
Well, that's quite okay. It is our intention. It is our intention to do overviews of the books of the Bible, and we're gonna track through them in order as far as I can tell.
Yep.
So, Lord willing, we'll have lots of conversation around the scriptures in times to come here on this podcast. We are the Chinook Podcast. It is our great desire that our Lord would send His Spirit to northern Alberta, to Western Canada, and that like that Chinook wind that rolls in off the Rockies and warms things up and heats them up and gives them life again, that God would please do this in Western Canada. We look forward to that day. We desire that day, and we ask Him that He would bring it to pass. Do ask that with us. Thank you for listening here to the Chinook Podcast. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, do so now. And we will see you again next time.